I have been thinking about this notion that the Igbos are marginalized in Nigerian politics. I think that if we look at the facts and statistics, that claim is not true. Right after the war, the first civilian government had an Igbo vice president, had an Igbo speaker of the House of Representatives, and in every other government, the Igbos featured, all the way to the government of Goodluck Jonathan. And Igbo was the Minister of Economy, the coordinating Minister of the Economy then. And the Minister of Petroleum, the only substantive Minister of Petroleum since the return to civilian rule was Dizani Alison Madueke. She was at least the wife of an Igbo man, not to mention her own Igbo-ness. According to our federal character structure of Nigerian politics, every state produces 2 ministers in the cabinet. You cannot point at any Igbo state that did not produce such a minister or that was excluded in that apportioning of offices. So what do you mean when you say that the Igbos are excluded? Excluded from what? Because you are not the president. Do you have to be president? Do you know how many times an Igbo man was the Senate president? Namani was Senate president. Nwabara was Senate president. Do you know how powerful it is to be the Senate president? That means you are heading. Yes, and then Chubo Kadibo as well. That means you are actually heading an arm of government. So the president heads the executive arm, and the Senate president heads the legislative arm. And the legislative arm is fairly powerful. In these names I mentioned now, you can see that the Igbos have been featured in various civilian government in this country. So you got to think about this notion of Igbo marginalization in politics. I don't believe in it. We cannot measure it basically based on the issue of presidency. And by the way, as you know, Shagari, when he was president, Alex Ekwueme was the vice president. If that administration had not been interrupted by military rule, all things being equal, Alex Ekwueme would have become the president of Nigeria in 1987. That was 38 years ago. So when you speak about marginalization of the Igbos from politics, you have to be realistic. And then let's look at the economy. Look at Abuja. The Igbos dominate Abuja business. If you look at it, they are spreading so fast, even entering into Niger State and neighboring states of Abuja. You come to Lagos, 95% of the Alaba international market controlled by Igbo traders. Ladipo market, 95% controlled by Igbo traders. Who are those buying houses and lands in Lekki today? It's Igbos. Look at Festac, the Igbos. So what do you really mean? Don't allow people to mislead you with all this false propaganda. I am an Igbo man, a proud Igbo man. Nigeria has problems, and Nigeria will continue to improve. But if you point at Igbo marginalization, you have to back it up with facts and evidence. And I haven't seen that evidence. I haven't seen the facts. It is propaganda and upon propaganda to drive you into frenzy and emotions. Okay? So, in Katsina State, 100% of the spare parts market in Katsina State are Igbos. The same thing in other northern states, Sokoto, Kaduna, and the rest. Look at computer villages. Computer village in Abuja, 90% Igbo. Computer village in Lagos, 90% Igbo. Banex market in Abuja, 90% Igbo traders. It's a great thing. The Igbos are doing well. They deserve what they have. They should be encouraged to have more. But to create these stories of impressions of Igbo marginalization, you have to be realistic. You have to come up with figures and facts. It's not enough to emote and pour out propaganda that has no basis in reality.
In the heart of the city where stories unfold, Gentle Media TV shining bright and bold, bringing news from the corners of the globe, connects us together, no matter the road. Oh, just rise, hear the voices roar, unity and diversity, together